5 seconds to go. Start. Indian social order is beset with social and economic inequalities and of status, and in our socialist secular democratic republic, inequality is an anathema to social and economic justice. The Constitution of India charges the state to reduce inequalities and ensure decent standard of life and economic equality. The Act assigns the power to the RBI to regulate monetary system, and the experimentation of the economic legislation can best be left to the executive unless it is found to be unrealistic or manifestly arbitrary. Even if a law is found wanting on trial, it is better that its defects should be demonstrated and removed than that the law should be aborted by judicial fiat. Such an assertion of judicial power deflects responsibilities from those on whom a democratic society ultimately rests. The court has to see whether the scheme, measure, or regulation adopted is relevant or appropriate to the power exercised by the authority. Prejudice to the interest of depositors is a relevant factor. Mismanagement or inability to pay the accrued liabilities are evils sought to be remedied. The directions are assigned to preserve the right of the depositors and the ability of RNBC to pay back the contracted liability. It is also intended to prevent mismanagement of the deposits collected from vulnerable social segments who have no knowledge of banking operations or credit system and repose unfounded blind faith on the company with fond hope of its ability to pay back the contracted amount. Thus, the directions maintain the thrift for saving and streamline and strengthen the monetary operations of RNBCs. A three-judge bench of this court in Internet and Mobile Association of India versus Reserve Bank of India recently considered a challenge to the RBI's ban of trading in cryptocurrencies. In examining this challenge, the court detailed the regulatory importance of the RBI through a historical and textual analysis of the RBI Act. Justice V. Ramasubramanian, speaking on behalf of the court, observed that the RBI assumes a special role compared to other statutory bodies. Its decisions are reflective of its expertise and guide the monetary policy of the country. Hence, a policy decision of the RBI warrants deference from this court. The court held a careful scan of the RBI Act 1934 in its entirety would show that the operation regulation of the credit financial system of the country to its advantage is a thread that connects all the provisions which confer powers upon RBI both to determine policy and to issue directions. It is contended by Shri Asim Sood, learned counsel for the petitioners, that the impugned circular does not have either the status of a legislation or the status of an executive action, but is only the exercise of a power conferred by statute upon a statutory body corporate. Therefore, it is his contention that the judicial rule of deference as articulated in R.K. Garg versus Union of India will not apply to the decision taken by a statutory body like RBI. If a legislation relating to economic matters is placed at the highest pedestal, an executive decision with regard to similar matters will be placed only at a lower pedestal, and the decision taken by a statutory body may not even be entitled to any such deference or reverence. But given the scheme of the RBI Act 1934 and the Banking Regulation Act 1949, the above argument appears only to belittle the role of RBI. RBI is not just like any other statutory body created by an act of legislature. It is a creature created with a mandate to get liberated even from its creator. This is why it is given a mandate under the preamble of the RBI Act 1934 to operate the currency and credit system of the country to its advantage and to operate the monetary policy framework in the country. Under section 3(1) to take over the management of the currency from the central government. Under section 20 to undertake to accept monies for account of the central government to make payments up to the amount standing to the credit of its account and to carry out its exchange, remittance, and other banking operations, including the management of the public debt of the Union. Under section 21(1) to have all the money, remittance, exchange, and banking transactions in India of the central government entrusted with it. Under section 22(1) to have the sole right to issue bank notes in India, and under section 38 to get rupees into circulation only through it to the exclusion of the central government. Therefore, RBI cannot be equated to any other statutory body that merely serves its master. It is specifically empowered to do certain things to the exclusion of even the central government. Therefore, to place its decisions at a pedestal lower than that of even an executive decision would do violence to the scheme of the Act. Stop.